In this tutorial, we are going to implement our very first simple list in C. Lists are a very crucial part of game development because it's a very strong data structure that we are going to use over and over again. So the understanding for this one is very important. That is why I put such a focus on lists. Although it's not the only complex data structure that you can write, and we will get to know some more, but we will not focus them so much like lists. Okay, I'm not going to do so many new things in this video, so basically everything I'm doing is something that you already know. So I will increase the speed a little, maybe. So be aware of that fact. Okay, first of all, I'm going to define a struct, and I'm calling this just list. You already know I'm not very good at naming things, so that's just a list. And this time, I believe I mentioned it in the video about a typedef and structs, that it's not necessary to set both names, but there's a special occasion when you want to set both names, and this occasion will come now. Okay, so first, in the last video I told you we are just going to take some easy value, some integer value. Of course you can extend this example as far as you want. In this video I will keep it simple. Okay, so why is it that we need both names? Well, it's fairly simple. The explanation is fairly simple because we are pointing to another value of this type. That means we need to use our struct name, and this is the next element of our list. And why we can't use our typedef inside of here? That is why we need to say, okay, struct list. So we actually need our struct to be named, to have a name. And if you remember the definition of the typedef, I mean how it's defined, the syntax for typedef, you got to have some data type, and you give that data type a name, and this is the name for the data type. So in our code we can now type struct list and some variable name, or we can just type list and have the sum var. This is now, it's basically the same, so just remember that. Okay, so we actually create a new root element, and this is usually always the first element in a list, or actually I'm going to call it a head. That's a little bit more fitting for a list. And we need to allocate some memory for this variable here. And before we wrote list inside of here, now we are actually going to use, I told you there's a trick for the size of, we are just going to use the variable name, and we have to set the pointer here, because if we do not do this, it will just set it to 1, as this is a pointer, and now we point to our data type, and it will get the size for our data type. So when we change this name, we just have to change it here and not left and right. Okay. Yeah, you can try it by yourself, of course, so you can find out if you are a little confused. Remember, we have to use the arrow because this is a pointer struct. So if it's not a pointer, we have to use the dot. We will set some integer value and the next element. The next element is a little bit difficult. We could, of course, already allocate some memory, but that would be wasted because we don't have a value yet for this one. So we just might as well put it to null. That's a special value, I already mentioned it, and if you don't have any data coming up, you just set it to null. This will come in pretty handy soon. Okay, so now we want to get some output. So we want to print the head value of our list. And this is also pretty straightforward. So I'm going to compile this one to simple list w all. Shouldn't get any errors. That is the case, so I'm happy. And the head value of our list is 5, so that's not very surprising. Okay, now we want to have a new node. I just call it node, you can also call it element or something. And I have to do the same thing over and over again. Node value is 1 and the node next is null. What I want to do now is I want to extend my list. I want the node to be the second element of my list. And I do this by putting the head next pointer actually to my node. So now the next pointer of the head element is pointing to the element with the name node. And I'm just copying this one. What I can do now is I can just go here, second value of our list. This is the only interesting line because everything else shouldn't be new to you. Because we access our node element by accessing the next pointer of our head element and then the value. That is quite interesting because we don't need this code because we can access this this value with our next variable here, with the pointer of our head element. So actually we don't need a variable by itself for the node. So keep that in mind because we will work on that in the next video. So I'm going to compile this, execute it, and the output is as expected. What I wanted to say just now is look at our code. We have to write a lot of stuff just to save two numbers. And of course that is neither very efficient nor great because it's just time consuming and it's just hard to read. And if you give that kind of code to someone who's new to C level language, he would probably don't know what are you doing. And yeah, we want to work on that problem. That is the first problem we want to address. So we can see we have a lot of code that will be repeated over and over again. We have to write the same things for every value. So that is something, when you see that is redundant code, that is something you should improve. You should be able to improve that. And this is the first problem with our list that we are going to tackle in the next video. Okay, I hope this video was a good method to maybe repeat all the stuff that we did in the previous videos, and in the next video we will again use all the stuff we already know. We just use it in a real life example. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next video. Bye.